Danny Segura for MMA Junkie. I'm here with former UFC strawweight champion Carla Esparza. First of all, Carla, how are you? It's been a minute since we've heard from you. Last time we saw you in the octagon, obviously you improved your winning streak to 5 in a row, picking up a very dominant win over Yan Jionan. And, a lot has happened in the division since. So, first of all, before we get into the interview, how are you? It was your birthday recently, just yesterday. How's these 4 months been like for you?
These 4 months have been nice. I had a long camp for the last fight, so it was kind of nice to get a little bit of time away and really just kind of do a little bit of traveling. I was able to go on an African safari, and I went to go corner a fighter in Paris. So it's been good to kind of just take the focus a little bit away. But now I'm back to training, and I'm ready to get into another camp.
Okay, nice. What part of Africa were you in?
I was in Botswana and South
Okay.
Africa, or about Botswana and Zimbabwe, Victoria Falls.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
Any cool what's your favorite memory from that trip?
probably the coolest thing that we saw was we saw like a lion. She was stalking her prey the night before. Like we saw her chase, like kind of walking far behind these buffalo, and then we saw her the next morning, like go in for the kill and attack this buffalo. It was really gnarly.
Yeah, it sounds intense. I'm not a big proponent of zoos, but I've always wanted to do something like that, kind of like a safari, and kind of just watch like the real deal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. It was a dream vacation for me, so it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Awesome. Um, like you said, a lot has gone down in your division. So I kind of wanted to catch up and get your thoughts on some of the things going on as well. Obviously, things going on in your career. Um, I know it's a little bit of old news, but I haven't talked to you about this. Obviously, in November 6th, we're going to get that rematch between Rose Namajunas and Zhang Weili. A lot of people thought you should have been in that slot. A lot of people thought you were the number one contender in the division. So I know you already posted something on Instagram about it and kind of addressed that decision from the UFC. But just overall, can you give me your thoughts on that fight? And are you surprised that the UFC went that route?
I shouldn't say I'm 100% surprised. I always knew it was a possibility. But I mean, I could only kind of roll with the punches, so to speak, and kind of just sit and wait. I felt that I deserved the fight. I felt that I've earned my way, 5 wins, all people in the top 10. I just dominated the number 3, so I felt that I was the rightful next choice. But for whatever reason, the UFC decided to go with Weili. So, it's just one of those things.
Yeah. And what's your sort of stance been like? I know you said you got next on that Instagram post when you reacted to the announcement of that rematch. But is that sort of the plan moving forward? Just waiting it out and getting the next shot?
Yeah, I think that I'm going to know a lot after the fight November 6th. I think that whatever happens in that fight is going to be very telling of what's next for me in my future and my next fight. Of course, I want the title fight. I've fought for 7 years to get back to this point, but I also want to stay active and I want to get out there and I want to fight because it's what I love to do. And so hopefully it goes in a way that it makes sense for the UFC to give me the next fight. I've been very humbled and appreciative by, all the support I've gotten, when the announcement was made for Weili to get the rematch. A lot of people have been vocal saying that I deserved it and I felt that I deserved it. But, at the end of the day, the UFC makes their decisions for whatever reason. And so I'm just going to sit and wait and hopefully I get that opportunity next.
Yeah. So that's your ideal situation. Get the next shot and kind of just wait things out for now.
Yeah, for sure. But even on that end, you never know what can happen.
Right.
So, I was offered the fight with Mackenzie. Like they offered me the fight like, very soon after I got home from my last fight. So I'm like, oh, so, it's seeming like a big possibility that I'm not going to get the rematch or get the rematch with Rose for the title.
Hmm.
So, with what happened, she was on a 4-fight win streak, Mackenzie. So I thought, well, if she ends up getting a big win, then, that could shake things up as well and kind of put another wrench in the mix, so to speak.
Right, definitely. And I want to get your thoughts on Mackenzie Dern's performance, as well as Marina Rodriguez and some of the comments that she had to say after the fight. But before we move on from the rematch between Rose Namajunas and Zhang Weili, has the UFC said anything about you, like regarding you being next, or what have they informed you, after they booked the rematch?
Um, Honestly, I haven't really gotten any word. I've been inquired through my manager Brian Butler to see, what's going on. Can I at least get a guarantee that, the next fight is mine if I'm going to be sitting and waiting? And I haven't even gotten that, so it's a little bit disheartening because I worked so hard to get to this point. And I think a lot of people have seen that. And I've never been maybe the biggest talker. I've always been kind of quiet, very humble, like kept my head down, but at the end of the day, I felt that my performances and what I've done this last 7 years, coming back from, going down and then coming all the way up, kind of has, you know, speaks louder than any words I feel should.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so they haven't even contacted you about like a potential backup role. I know they're doing that often because MMA is full of injuries, and now you add the COVID layer. Sometimes we're seeing these backup roles for some of the title fights.
I haven't been contacted so far. And, I am fortunate to be walking around as one of the lighter fighters in the division. So I'm surprised that I haven't heard about that. But honestly, I wouldn't want to do that. I don't want to I feel like I've earned the right to like a full camp and like just an actual fight. So, I would like to kind of just wait for that and see what happens there.
Yeah. And are you almost hoping that Rose gets a second win over Zhang? That way it doesn't complicate things, and maybe, there potentially be an opportunity there for a trilogy. And obviously, I mean, you have a win over Rose Namajunas, so I'm sure that has to, weigh in as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm definitely hoping that Rose wins. Not only on a personal level, she's always been super respectful. We have a long history together, but I think it would be a great story. It's such a great storyline for the fight. We both come such a long way since we originally fought. I think that she really wants to fight me. I know that after my win, she was very like stoked to get the rematch with me. I know that she felt that this was a fight to make happen. She felt that I deserved it, and not only that, but she wants to get that win. She's a fighter who doesn't. She's not looking for an easy fight. Not to say that Weili is an easy opponent, but
Right.
when you just come off of dominantly beating someone like that, I think she was excited to get in there and kind of go head to head with me for the rematch.
Right. And what's your relationship level like with Rose? Do you guys like chat or?
Well, I've known Rose for a very long time, maybe close to like 8, 9 years. We've hung out in the past, through our manager and through mutual friends, and she's always been like a really great girl. Her and Pat, like I have so much respect for them. We lived in the Ultimate Fighter house together.
Yeah.
We were cool there, and after we fought, there was nothing but respect from her.
Mhm.
So we don't. I don't say we would chat like we don't chat, but
Right.
there's always just been kind of like that mutual respect.
Yeah. Has she reached out or said anything since that booking?
Um, well, we have our manager in common, and I've kind of heard like through him, things that she said, and I feel very grateful for how much she was kind of having my back in wanting the rematch. I can't quote directly what she said, but it was something along the lines of like, "Hey, Carla had a great performance." She's like, "That's a scary fight that I want to train for. I want to go in there and like challenge the best. I want to beat the best." And she really wanted that rematch, and she wanted to like I don't think she's ever lost a rematch. So I think it's something that kind of lights a fire under her, and I can really respect that.
Yeah, certainly. Great to hear that there's tons of respect between you two. And from a technical standpoint, that first fight between Zhang and Rose was so quick, right? A lot of people are wondering if it would play any different, right? If they were to fight again, now November 6th at UFC 268. What do you see there? Who do you think is going to take that fight? Stylistically, how do you think it's going to go down?
I mean, I would say the Rose, has the edge. I mean, I don't think that it was a fluke. I think that she was very precise and very calculated in what she did. She strategized in the moment. She's such a smart fighter, and she really she picks up on things like, mid fight, like during the fight. And I think she got a read, and then she got the knockout. So I think that Rose will win again. Will win the rematch between them. I'm not sure necessarily like if it will be as quick, but for my sake, like I hope so. I hope that Rose gets a great finish. I hope that that she comes out like undamaged if she does get the win, and that'll lead sooner turnaround for us to fight potentially.
Right, certainly. Will you be making the trip to New York for that fight?
I actually was really interested in going to watch the fight. I'd love to be there in person and see the result of that, but unfortunately, I already had plans. My fiance is going to be at a medical conference in Napa that weekend, and we already had plans to go up there. But trust me, I'm definitely going to be watching.
Certainly. And let's move away now from that title fight. And I want to ask you about a couple other things going on at strawweight. Just this weekend, we saw Marina Rodriguez pick up a big win over Mackenzie Dern. First of all, are you surprised at that result? It seemed a lot of people were picking Dern, obviously 4-fight winning streak, and she just seemed to have turned some sort of corner since that Amanda Ribas loss. What are your thoughts on that fight and on the result?
I'm not surprised in the result. I definitely felt that Mackenzie had obviously the edge on the ground, and had it gotten on the ground, I felt that she was definitely able to get a finish. But Marina's, I think she's an underrated fighter. I think her striking is some of the best in the division. She's just very well rounded, and she brought out like an awesome game plan. I think she did everything she had planned on doing, even when it did hit the ground. She stayed very cool, very smart, and just kind of weathered the storm. So I can't say that I'm surprised, because I think that she's been coming up for a while, and I've obviously had the opportunity to go to war with her, and I was very impressed. She's a very great fighter. So as is Mackenzie, but styles make fights, and I don't think that Mackenzie necessarily had the level of wrestling to bring it down to her world. So yeah, no, so I think Marina did a great job.
Yeah. And you said that, prior to this fight happening, like, a win for Mackenzie could throw a wrench in the whole situation for you. Do you think with this result, are you kind of just the clear number one contender at 15 pounds?
Yes. I think there was talks of Mackenzie kind of being in there, especially with a similar win record. I could see the argument for that. She has a lot of hype behind her too, and she's a really, really great fighter. She has these, explosive finishes, all these finishes on the ground. So I could definitely have seen the argument for that. But I think with Marina having the win over her, and then myself having the win over Marina being her only loss, I think it really solidifies me as the number one contender.
Yeah, certainly. And recent too, right? Just in 2020. So I'm sure that's got to feel good. And something very interesting about that event, and really mostly like in the post-fight press conference, you have Marina Rodriguez out there saying that you should be next, right? It's usually completely the opposite across any division. Everyone's always trying to make their claim to get the next shot and try to skip whoever, is ahead. And obviously, understandably so, everyone wants a title shot. But she was out there saying like, look, I have no problem waiting. I think Carla Esparza is definitely next up in line. And look, I hope that she wins the belt, and maybe we run that back for the title. What were your thoughts on those comments?
Honestly, I was just so appreciative, so grateful, and humbled at how gracious she was and how respectful she was in her words. Marina, obviously, she's working her way up the ladder, and she's a very great fighter. And for her to really show me that respect and saying that I deserve to have the title shot was really cool to hear. And I felt that I've had, honestly, I've had a lot of respect and just support from a lot of the people in the division, and all over, from the fans, from the media. I think a lot of people felt that I deserved that fight, and just to kind of hear it from somebody who, wants the same thing that I want. She wants a title fight, just as badly as the rest of us do. I mean, that's what we're doing in this division. We're going to be the best. For her to kind of almost bow down and just respectfully and humbly be like, Carla deserves the next shot was really cool to hear.
Yeah. And I think that's the most obvious sign that you're like the clear number one contender. Even the contenders at 150 pounds are saying like, hey, look, Carla's next. So, from the fans and, I think everybody else, I think it's pretty clear that you should get that next shot. And another, a few interesting comments that she had to say, not really about you, but just about the division. And I want to get your thoughts on this. She said, look, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, I'm not really interested in fighting her. Heck, she shouldn't even be ranked. And look, I don't think any fighter should be pressured into taking any fights. I think if you don't want to fight, that's completely fine. But she is holding up that number 2 spot in the rankings, right? She hasn't fought since that fight against Zhang Weili in March of 2020, if I'm not mistaken. What are your thoughts on sort of Joanna's inactivity and more than that, just the fact that she's still ranked and sitting at number 2?
I would have to say I agree with Marina. She hasn't stayed active. She's sitting here, trying to pick and wait for this and that and just kind of almost demand on these title shots when, I mean, don't get me wrong, she's a great fighter. She was the long-standing champion in the division. And it doesn't change that she's a great fighter, but at the same time, you have to stay active. You have to get wins. You have to stay busy in this division to consistently like ask for those spots. It's not just like I show up and just give me what I want. You know what I mean? She has a loss over, she has a loss next to Weili and Rose. So it's like, dude, like build your way back up. Like you should earn that spot.
Yeah. You think she's gonna have to fight again outside of a title fight, before she gets a crack at gold?
I think she should, and like I said, she's a great fighter. I have no doubt that she's going to be consistently at the top of the division, beating some great girls. But I think Marina, like if she doesn't feel that she's entitled to get another like top contender, like, title eliminator fight, then I can totally respect that.
Yeah, certainly. All right, Carla, pleasure talking to you. Lastly, a word out there for your fans, because I know a lot of people were upset that you didn't get that shot against Rose Namajunas, but it seems you're in very good spirits and you've been taking this whole experience very well. So just, I don't know, if you have a message out there for your fans that perhaps feel like, a little cheated, like, hey, Carla should have been up there in that title fight.
I just want to say thank you so much to all the fans and people, even in my own division, who've shown me so much support and in saying that I deserve that title fight. But don't lose hope. I feel that it's only a matter of time. I'm going to get that title fight, and hopefully I'm going to bring that gold back. And I'm excited for hopefully a rematch with Rose. But no matter who's in that spot, like I want to fight the best. So thank you guys so much for all the support. I appreciate it. And I'm only getting better, like I'm not using this time, and just sitting back. Like I'm here working consistently, and I want to bring some new skills to the table the next time I get back in the cage.
Well, Carla, pleasure talking to you. Best of luck in these next few months. Hopefully you get that title shot that you deserve. And I appreciate the time like always.
Well, thank you so much.